What's up, everybody? I got a question to ask. Is the New York hip hop scene burnt out? Is the New York and
hip
here's
hop
why I'm
scene
asking that question. And
burnt
why am I
out?
on here twice? There we go. I was doubling. And this is why I'm asking this question. I'm asking this question because of a lot of recent events. Dame Dash is now suing Camron. Camron called up Dame Dash's kids. You saw the Dipset problem. You see 50 being this big ass instigator. Jay-Z try twice. His second attempt to screw over New York with a casino failed this time, unlike the Barclays Center. And the reason why I'm asking this question is this: New York, they've been the mouthpiece, for the most part, the only mouthpiece of hip hop for a while now. And there's been a lot of confusion as far as the origins of hip hop. Is it connected to black culture? Is it not? What is it? What is that? And all of that comes out of that region. And it's like the South, the Midwest, the West, hell, even other areas of the East Coast, Philadelphia. It's like they all got to be quiet when New York comes around to talk about hip hop. And I'm asking a serious question today. With all the infighting we see over there, Harlem versus Brooklyn, Brooklyn versus Staten Island and Long Island, and that ain't real hip hop because it's from Queens, and all the divisiveness and fighting. Are they the proper messengers of the sound? Yes, New York was most definitely the spark of hip hop. But the flame is and always has been the rest of Black America, the Midwest, St. Louis, Chicago, Memphis, Atlanta, the South, Houston, Scarface, West Coast, Oakland, LA. The flame has always been the aggregate of Black America. Yes, New York is most definitely the spark, but a spark without a flame is just a spark. Musically, it's go go. No disrespect to go go, but go go stayed in a particular region because the flame did not go across the rest of America. So go go stayed in DC. Niggas in Baltimore be talking shit about go go, Zydeco, or other areas of music that we've created like Boogaloo, where these sounds like Boogaloo was just a moment in time, and after 2.5, 3 years, on to something different. The place responsible for telling the story is can't get the story right within themselves, can't get along, and it's making hip hop look real bad because these niggas is in their 50s acting childish. Meanwhile, Ice Cube just dropped another wisdom laden record last week. Big Gip, I call Big Gip is he's the Yoda of hip hop. Big Gip. Different regions provide different areas of greatness, and they've all been silenced because of an area that cannot stop infighting, demands to be the voice. So what we're gonna talk about today is really how down bad is the New York scene right now. And before I get into it, I know some of y'all gonna cry. Do I just hating on New York? If that's how you feel, so what you gonna do about it? To the rest of us, this is just a discussion. And it's also encouragement for the South to speak up more and tell the world what hip hop is, according to your point of view. It's a call to action to the Midwest to step up more. From Detroit down to Miami, from DC to Seattle, LA to Oakland. It's time for everybody to speak up more and stop being and profess the greatness of your region. Because what we have going on here, this ain't about shit. And it's a bad look on hip hop, and it's a bad look on Black American music. Because we got to understand, hip hop is a subgenre of Black American music. It's not a primary genre. It's a subgenre, and it's looking real bad right now. It's looking real bad. So what we about to do right now is talk about it. With that being said, welcome chat room. Welcome. Thank y'all for joining. Lady Hotep 13 goes over on Twitter. Spirit Wonder over on YouTube. Mr. on YouTube. James on Twitch. All right, for sure. We got some people up in here off Twitch. We're going to talk about it because it's a lot going on. And it goes also into what I've been talking about this year. This is a Nine of Hearts year. Nine of Hearts is the year of infighting amongst groups. And there's no bigger infighting going on in hip hop right now than what's going on in New York. I know y'all trying to throw dirt on Atlanta's name, and Atlanta got some shit that's gonna have to work out. But it ain't as bad as these old ass niggas. All right? So what we about to do is give me 30 seconds. We are going to get started. All right? Let's go. Let's get it in. I want to give a couple prefaces before I get all the way into it. Guidelines, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about where what I want out of this, because this is a constructive talk. This is gonna be a constructive talk that we have today. Okay, this is a constructive talk. I got love for New York. I got love for New Yorkers. I ain't got no issues with nobody individually, and I don't have any issues with the state or the city or none of that. But what I love most is music. That's what I love most. Don't like lies being told about music, and I don't like when the music and the culture that we created is doing all this divisive bullshit. We cannot be as people, and I love Black culture, as a lover of black culture and someone who I would consider myself an armchair anthropologist on black culture. My minor was in anthropology, not my major, so I don't have the degree to call myself an actual anthropologist, but I'll call myself an armchair anthropologist. We got to know how to talk real to one another as black folks without some asshole coming around saying, "You're just hating." If you're one of those, "You're just hating" kind of guys, fuck you. I'm not talking to you. You're too goddamn stupid to interpret what I'm going to talk about today. So if you that kind of nigga, you can get the fuck out of here. I'm not here to speak to you. Now, for those who have an open mind, for those who are understanding, for those who want to hear a train of thought that's centered around just wanting to preserve the culture overall, you're welcome. You're welcome to disagree. You're welcome to agree. You're welcome to all that, as long as you keep it respectful. But if your point of view is you're hating and you want to come here and just spew bullshit, your mama raised you on spoiled titty milk. This ain't the place to come to get sympathy, okay? Let's make that very clear. Because let's start out with a prayer. Father God, we come here on YouTube today to pray that we have a fruitful discussion based in moving the culture forward. And I pray that, Lord, with your help, that all hoes stay away. Any hoe-ass nigga with hoe-ass tendencies that got hoe-ass words and hoe-ass thoughts, keep their hoe-asses away. Because this is a no-ho zone. Don't be a hoe. This is no ho zone. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a hoe. I pray, Father God, that all the hoes stay in the hoes place. And I pray that my mods give the hoes a warning. And if they keep being a hoe, get them the fuck out of here. Because this is, Lord, hallelujah, a no-ho zone. In the name of the good Lord, we say, amen. Don't be a hoe. Pull your lighters out. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a hoe. Don't be a hoe. All right, cool. Let's get some. Let's get our time in. This is a no-ho zone. You're welcome to disagree, but you cannot sound like a bitch in disagreeing. And when I opened up the phone lines earlier, if you call in, if your voice get high and you start cracking, probably gonna hang up on you because you're too emotional, okay? So here we go. Let's talk about it. I know a lot of people from New York, y'all get mad and everything when y'all talked about, but never forget New York. Y'all, to this day, have no issues with saying that the West Coast ruined hip-hop with gangster rap, even though that's a lie. Gangster rap was in Philadelphia before it came to the West Coast. Y'all the first to talk about the South and not consider the South real rap, especially back in the 80s and the 90s. Y'all call Atlanta real rap now because half of y'all niggas live in Atlanta, so you got to. But I was there in 96. Now y'all want to respect it in the South. No one cared. I mean, it was all about us and nobody else. And if we go back to last year's Hip Hop 50 celebration, it was basically a celebration of New York. They didn't even have the decency to honor funk music. Didn't honor the blues. Didn't honor anything that the samples came from. You know, didn't honor MC Hammer, the first person to really take it pop. It was a celebration in New York. So if you can have the look at me, look at me, look at me attitude, we can look at you. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with this right here because this was the news of the morning. This is the news of the morning. Dame Dash slaps Camron with a $300 million lawsuit. This is unfortunate because this is the music of my high school years and my early college years. This is high school and college for me. The music that these guys represent. Mostly high school. And you know, the music of your high school takes on an especially strong, good place in your heart. Because the music of high school was before bills. It was before, all your friends were still alive. That's a special time. That was a special time in life. And the people who have the soundtrack of my life are arguing like hoes in their 50s. It started with Camron, and I'm not going to go too deep into it because I talked about it before. Started with Camron being mad at Dame for something that he said on an Art of Dialogue interview. And Camron went so far as to call Dame Dash's son for an interview. He crossed the line by going to a man's kids. Dame Dash went lower and brought up Camron's mom. Then you got 50 Cent that came out of nowhere trolling Dame, saying that he bought the rights to Paid in Full. And he hired Camron to be his executive producer. Petty, petty, petty. And one more thing I'm going to say next is, for all you hoe-ass New York niggas in here mad at what I'm saying, deal with it. Y'all worse than the goddamn Charlie Kirk fans. Y'all worse than them Charlie Kirk people. Charlie Kirk did all that talking shit, and then the minute he get whoopty wham, boomty bam, oh, you can't talk about it. Nah. We gonna talk about it, goddammit. Deal with it. This is what's going on now. So, you got these grown-ass men in their 50s playing these stupid-ass games. And I'm not going to put this all on the tethers. You know, Dame, like these ain't all tethers. Like, Jay-Z's not a tether. You know what I mean? They ain't all tethers now. This is black Americans, too. I'm not going to put this all on tethers. It's us, too. And they're playing this sick game of one-upsmanship. And it's in alignment with a lot of the flash and cash music that came out of New York in the late 90s into the 2000s. The hoes and clothes era. And for those of you saying, why don't I talk about LA? Look up my history, bitch. I do talk about LA. Especially these fake ass gangsters out here. It's your turn now. Deal with it, you fake ass Charlie Kirk fans. Lady Hotep, how many videos do I have up here on this channel talking shit about the West Coast? Especially these West Coast fake ass gangster rappers that was supposed to be tough back in the day. Online gossiping. I talk about them too. Today is your turn. Deal with it. So the Jiggy era rappers are now in their 50s. That's right. Many a times. I don't let the West Coast slide on bullshit. I don't let nobody slide on the bullshit. Because the bigger picture is Black American culture, Black American greatness, Black American music. Nobody slides. But this here is sloppy. Dame is filing bankruptcy, getting his affairs back in order. It's a lot of stories that can be told. It's a lot of stories that can be told. And for you to go out your way to step on another black man because you petty, that's some hoe ass shit. And another reason why I'm bringing this up is because when I listen to Art of Dialogue, when I listen to Dame Dash's interview on the Breakfast Club, when I listen to Cam talk, they're the ones that be like, this ain't Harlem. Am I right? Did Dame Dash not be the one to be like, okay, this is some Harlem. That you guys are the ones to bring up your cities when we talking about this kind of shit. That's really the only reason why I'm even aware of the dynamics between the boroughs. Because from LA, all you niggas is the same. I'm sorry to tell you, I'm on the West Coast. So if you ask me, Queens, Harlem, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Long Island, all you niggas is the same. Y'all Black Americans or non-Black Americans. Y'all the same. I don't see no fucking difference. Little ass island, 2 feet long, and y'all arguing over who's 6 inches away on the other side of the street. That shit looks stupid to me. I only know about it because y'all talk about it so much. And that fighting mentality is different. I mean, it's bubbling up now. It's bubbling up. And it's now starting to look dirty on now. It's that shit is getting on all of us. As a black man, we are one. That's why they pray that Crip and Blood shit. I would tell niggas in LA, y'all blood, y'all, all you niggas is stupid. I look at an LA nigga that'll look at another black man and be like, nah, yeah, you from da-da-da-da. And see her for real separation between him and that person. But in LA, that's just a gang issue. Most niggas in LA don't bang, contrary to what these whack-ass rappers want to preach to you. Hell, these whack-ass rappers, them niggas don't bang either. They took on a bitch-ass persona. Most of them niggas don't bang either. They just run their goddamn mouth. That's some gang shit. Outside of gang shit, you from LA, you from Inglewood, I'm from LA. You from Gardena, all right. You from Compton, cool. That's just that fruity-ass gang shit. And you see how I can talk about LA and still get comments like this. Dewan has always been biased when Kareem, what did I say that's bias? Chat room, have I said any lies yet? No, Kenny, only gang members pay for protection. If you ain't in the gang, you can walk them same goddamn streets and ain't nobody gonna bother you. There are gang members and there are civilians. All right? And 7 out of 10 are civilians. Seeing the people, now let me tell you something. Watching how these guys are bitching at what I said so far, y'all just made me decide to go even harder. All right? Because if you can't handle this, you might as well check out now because it's about to get way worse. It's about to get way worse. So we have this thing that's going on. And then on top of that, at the same time, you got Jay-Z. Nas had his own casino plan in Queens. That shit got pushed off. And now you got Jay-Z's thing that he's trying to put in Manhattan, like Caesar's Palace. And they tried to use Jay-Z the same way they used Jay-Z to gentrify Brooklyn. Jay-Z sells out New York more than Donald Trump. Like, if you want some degenerates, if you want some shit that's going to lower the morale, it's going to displace people, it's going to hurt the common working man, call Jay-Z. He'll be your camel to get it done. He'll be your work camel to do this shit. And the offensive things, appreciate that reparations perspective. Love everybody work. Keep it up from the LBC. Much appreciated. And I was listening to Thought Crimes talk about this yesterday. About the casino situation and how, you know, Jay-Z, this dude will basically be the person, he's the work camel. He's the camel horse, not Trojan horse. He's the Trojan camel. That's what he is. Jay-Z's the Trojan camel. Those are my words. Jay-Z's a Trojan camel. If he's coming in, understand it's going to be some some white folks right behind him ready to exploit everything. He's the Trojan camel. But in his humps is going to be a whole bunch of people, a bunch of Desi Perez's, former FBI informants, and a lot of people with the last name Herkowitz. They're coming. And it's not going to benefit you. He's a Trojan camel. So they tried to use the Trojan camel to bring in this casino, and it got knocked away. Salute to the people in New York for standing up to the Trojan camel. But you see how they tried to use hip hop the same way they did with the Nets, because hip hop is the greatest seller on earth. It's gonna sell some shit for you now. Knocked out. So that begs the question: are people tired of the hip hop scene over there? Jay-Z is losing his effectiveness. He wasn't able to push through this casino in New York. Is he losing his effectiveness? Nas wasn't able to push through a casino in Queens. No, Jay-Z is from the lineage. We're not going to do that to him. We're not going to do that to him. He's from the lineage. But he's just a Trojan camel. This is the part I got from Thought Crimes. When Thought Crimes was like, the issue is, why do they always got to make it about the community? Y'all remember when they was pushing this shit? They were trying to say this is something for the community. The community this, the community that. Ain't had a goddamn thing to do with the community. This is a few people that's in Jay-Z's Trojan camel humps that was gonna come in and make a lot of money. And the people of New York would have seen more crime, degradation, and degeneracy on their streets because of it. Y'all got Cardi B out here. This is New York hip hop today, Cardi B. This is the biggest release coming out of New York these days. What's going on here? This? No, I do not support Rolling Stone. Y'all racist. This is the hottest shit coming out? Huh? We got to talk about this. Because hip hop, the sound of hip hop is voiced through these people. And another thing, did y'all see Cam and Mace having Adrien Broner on the show? That shit was sad. There's too much fuck shit going on over there, man, to not be talked about. Did y'all see the position they put Adrien Broner in? Did y'all see that? They bring Adrien Broner on camera looking like this.
Being that we have a champ.
Nigga.
That's what's up. What do you think about?
Yeah, y'all know why I fuck with Terrence though. Damn, this shit gonna make me tear up. He went to my coach funeral, bro. I don't go to funerals.
Chat room. Does this look like a man that you want on camera? Look at his eyes. This was actually hard for me to watch. I watched the whole. This was them trying to explain the whole thing that happened. For those who don't know, Cam kicked Adrien Broner off for flirting with the host. But look at this man. Does this look like somebody that belongs on camera? Black man to black man. Why would you put a black man on camera looking like this? He even said, let's go back to the first part. He even said he didn't even know he was going to be interviewed.
Hey, this shit crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I did not know I was gonna be on the show. But y'all good. Y'all good. Y'all got.
You heard him? I did not know I was gonna be on this show. Listen how this shit starts.
Now we have a
damn.
Look at him.
This shit gonna make me tear up.
That is not somebody who's well. You don't put him on the spot. Black man to black man. Don't ever put a black man in this position. This nigga drunk, got mental health issues. Is this how we doing each other? Is this how we do each other?
And they was talking about you potentially fighting Jake Paul. So why did that fight?
I ain't gonna lie. This next one gonna be crazy. This next one gonna be crazy. I'm a dedicate this next three to 5 years, and you know I'll retire after that. But
this is before he said anything to Stat Baby. This is before he said anything to that woman. Look at the kind of shape that he's in.
I'm gonna do it again.
That's what's up. Where do you
look at his eyes? This is hard to watch. Being a host of a podcast is like being a point guard. It's like being a quarterback. You got to be able to look into your people's eyes around you and see if they're ready for the game. Being a coach. You don't put somebody in this position whose eyes look like that, who didn't even know they was going to be on camera. This is a whole 15 minutes before Cam decides to pull it and kick him off the show. This is the full unedited version. This point right here is where I thought that they should have ended it right here.
I know that's your brother, absolutely.
Carl, he said here. He gave me every dime he had on him.
Look at that. He's talking about Javante Tank Davis putting out every dime that he had and giving it to him. And him talking about how he used to do that. And the man's getting ready to break down and cry. At this point, I'm yelling, mercy, mercy, mercy. Let this man off camera.
Y'all at the TV show 25-8, all that shit.
Anyone who's followed Adrien Broner, you know that the situation between him and Floyd is painful. It was painful 10 years ago. Broner looked up to Floyd like for real, for real. And I don't know what Floyd did, but apparently Floyd did some shady shit to AB. And that's part of what's led to him being an alcoholic. You know, Floyd basically rejected him. So you got a drunk man who didn't know he was going to be on, and you bring up someone who's been a sore spot for this man for at least a decade. Look at him. He can't even answer the question.
Okay, we guess we can move on to football then.
What's that? Oh my God.
Right there. That's when you just say, you know what? It's about time to change subjects. Let's just go ahead. Thank you for coming. Look at this.
So, yeah, y'all at the TV show 25-8, all that shit. I know that shit, brother. Absolutely. And what about with Floyd? Okay, we guess we can move on to football then.
Stat. Oh my God.
Just stat. Let's do the football. I guess that answered the question about Floyd.
Okay. Well, you ready for football?
Stat.
Today we are joined with our analyst.
Listen. All right. You know, y'all want
Why would you go to the next segment with him acting like that? And this is the part where he was kicked off.
I mean, all right, you told me to stop. My bad, bro. You're amazing.
All right, hey, we gonna have to ask you to go, my nigga. I mean, I have to ask you to go, man. I'm gonna pay you for your time, for being here. I appreciate you. I love you, my nigga.
I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, no. I can't. I asked you the first, but you can't violate, bro.
See, a fuck nigga would say, well, he paid him for his time. No, you don't put your black man in that situation. You don't put a fellow brother in that situation. You don't do that. The nigga pulled out a purse. The nigga PJ Allen said he pulled out his purse. Right. And then you why would you even put the episode out? If that's your boy, why would you even put it out? Right. That's what we're talking about. You all right, Rocky? Man, Rocky hot. But y'all see what's going on. You're right, just to go viral. But this is the man that brought up this. All this shit's nasty, and all this shit's coming out of one city. And the reason why I'm bringing that shit up is because when we talk about hip hop, we are all having to deal with this lie that Africa Bambaataa and Kool Herc started hip hop, and hip hop is Jamaican culture and Caribbean culture, and it's literally only one city supporting that bullshit. And the reason why I gotta keep bringing it up is because all the rest of us are tired of having to hear this bullshit. If you in Atlanta, you know that hip hop in Atlanta took on the shape of Atlanta. You know that if you're in St. Louis, hip hop in St. Louis took on the shape of St. Louis. Kansas City with Tech Nine, the Bay Area with Too Short. Bay Area hip hop and LA hip hop, two completely different things. We ain't nothing like the Bay, and they ain't nothing like us. Why? Because hip hop is a Black American thing. No, you didn't bless us with shit, Sit Slammer. See, it's the thing about hip hop. You're a bastard form of music. You don't create, you ain't the first to rap. You don't create your own music. You sample from others. You don't have anything original because you got to borrow every goddamn thing. The graffiti came from Philadelphia. Y'all were b-boying. LA was pop locking. That's Black American culture. You didn't create shit that wasn't there before Kool Herc. Now, what did you do? Y'all did a good job of saying, okay, we're going to take this form of Black American art, that form of Black American art, this form of Black American art, and then because we don't know how to play no fucking instruments, we don't know how to sing, we're going to put it together and rap over it. That's what, yeah, great. That's just a fact. If you was hot shit, you'd be able to play your own goddamn instruments and create your own goddamn sound. The same way funk did, disco, boogaloo, zydeco, go-go, R&B, rock and roll, heavy metal, grunge, punk, funk, and every other goddamn form we created. So what you need to do, New York, is have some fucking respect from all the shit that you done took from to create something. That's what this is about. This is all about all these things that Black America created, everybody having to get mushed over to give some false sense of you gave us something. No, you just regurgitated what we've been doing. You just regurgitated what we've been doing. Why should Philadelphia take a back seat when without Philadelphia you wouldn't have disco? Or LA. LA and Philadelphia is where disco came from. Barry White in LA, Philadelphia International in Philadelphia. That's where goddamn disco came from. The funk came from James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, War, the Ohio Players. You didn't create that shit. But funk undergirds hip hop. There is no hip hop without funk. You didn't create the funk. Although the funk, it's some funky ass bands out of New York that y'all don't even acknowledge. BT Express is one. Cameo, D-Train. It's not a great, beautiful funk out of New York, but you niggas don't acknowledge them. It'd be different if hip-hop acknowledged Marcus Miller, acknowledged BT Express, acknowledged those sounds, but it don't. Like what that dude said in the chat earlier. It goes back to what this dude said. These niggas really think they blessed us. No, the fuck you didn't. You just made music easier for people who don't know how to play a fucking instrument, which I cannot say is a good thing because we've gotten a whole lot of bad music out of that. I still respect it. It's some people who are great at putting this stuff together, but personally, I think music was better when you had to play an instrument. Because the best beat makers till this day are musicians. What's his name? Battle Cat. Goddamn. Q-Tip. These motherfuckers know how to play instruments. Jay Dilla. The best. So you can't say you blessed us when you made music accessible for everybody. Now that shit done crossed over into R&B. And now we got The Weeknd. Now R&B is stuck with Bruno Mars and The Weeknd and all this simple ass simpleton shit. Because hip hop and house normalized not being a musician. You're right. Warren G saved Def Jam. These niggas don't like giving credit for shit. Warren G did save Def Jam. According to Def Jam, will regulate. Yeah, Larry Smith, musician, the best producer, the producer that set the hip hop sound, Larry Smith. Do y'all even acknowledge Larry Smith? Y'all be so goddamn quick to point out Africa Bambaataa, but won't say shit about Larry Smith. What kind of shit is that? No, Bruno Mars is not creative. Bruno Mars only created the people who grew up on hip hop and house music and 2000s R&B. Bruno Mars is not creative. He does what hip hop did. I'm going to take this from black culture. I'm going to take that from black culture and then put it all together and then give us some music that's about a tenth as good as what we can do. You got them trying to do this shit.
1, 2.
Y'all heard the goddamn Bruno Mars version of Love Train? I like Anderson .Paak's part.
It's 2 o'clock.
Let me see.
I love you, baby.
No, that ain't the part I want to get to.
All night, lady.
You hear that? Let me see.
If by chance you let me just hold ya, I'm down on my knees.
That's Bruno Mars version. And then you got the out of goddamn the Vallejo, the Michael Cooper and Confunction version. Let me get to the part. Here we go. Listen to the difference. That's us.
I wanna please you, baby.
He sound like he ready to shit. You can't compare Bruno Mars to Michael Cooper. Hey, man, that shit whack. And I love Anderson .Paak, but they had to make Anderson .Paak lower himself to get with Bruno Mars to make that album. Young says Randy so uneducated hip hop is. Yeah. I mean, for all that sampling hip hop do, y'all niggas don't know shit about what y'all sample from. God damn. I don't know too much about Marcus Tenshu. Appreciate the super chat. Hell yeah, Anderson .Paak is better than Bruno Mars. Anderson .Paak had to lower it. Appreciate that Blue Exodus. Anderson .Paak had to lower himself to put on that album. You know? But back to what we talking about. You're right. Somebody said Bruno Mars sound like an SNL parody. I lost that chat. I lost where that came from. Here it is. May Duffy said Bruno Mars, he sound like an SNL parody. Right. He sound like a straight up parody of Michael Cooper. Somebody said NYC created the blunt. Appreciate the super chat, but NYC got trash ass weed. Me personally, that don't mean nothing to me. I don't smoke blunts. I don't do tobacco. The weed in California too goddamn good. No need for tobacco. I'm good. I do hemp wraps, or I do straight up zigzags, raw papers. Either raw papers or hemp wraps for me. But I appreciate that. New York may have created the blunt, but yeah, that's because they weed ain't shit. They need that tobacco hit because the weed is trash. Well, now it's good. New York weed is good now. But back when y'all created the blunt back in the 90s, that shit was trash. Had seeds in it, stems. Shit had 0.1% THC. Hell yeah, Confunction loves Bruno Mars because Bruno Mars just made them a hell of a lot of money. If I was in confunction, I would too. Because you're getting paid. I love anybody. You love anybody that's getting you paid. Bruno Mars got them paid. It's still watered down funk. It ain't. It's still that shit. That nigga. That's not even diet funk. That shit's just straight up carbonated water passed off as soda. So, back to what we're talking about. See, a lot of people don't like having these conversations because nobody cries like a New Yorker when they feel like they've been slighted. You know, when Atlanta is on the map, I did a show on this here about how Atlanta killed R&B. And it's up on Patreon if you want to hear it. But I did a show on how Atlanta killed R&B. And it did. Because Atlanta is where R&B went completely electronic. No more live. That was my case. That was my reasoning why I said that. You know, when R&B was in Detroit, live instruments. When it was in Chicago, live instruments. When it was in Philadelphia and New York, live instruments. When it was in LA, live instruments. When it got to Atlanta, all the live instruments got taken out. And when they took out all the live instruments, that's what lowered the quality of R&B for Rihanna and The Weeknd and those types to become the kings and queens of R&B. When the live instrumentation, the background singer, that's what sets us apart. When we do it on that level, you don't want to hear Rihanna. You don't want to hear The Weeknd. There would be no Drakes trying to sing R&B. There would be none of that shit had we still been doing live. There would be no Adele. There would be none of these milquetoast R&B acts if we were still doing it. But Atlanta is where it went completely plastic. The Usher era, the Trap and B era, 2002. And when that happened, it opened up the floodgates for anybody to sing our music. And since then, the only people that's still singing R&B on the mainstream level are the people who was around 25, 30 years ago. But when I said that, the Atlanta people, it was something that was a little bit mad, but they didn't act like bitches. You know, they was like, yeah, I see where you're coming from, and some was mad. When I talk about LA, I talk about these LA gangs, these fake ass niggas all the goddamn time. You don't see them trying to come around and bang on me because them niggas understand that. You know what? That gangster shit really did put a hole in our boat. So I got some real ass niggas that be in my chat that'll come in and be like, yeah, you know what, Dwan, I'm from such and such. And they've called into the show. They can take the shit on the chin. And I do know there are a fair amount of New Yorkers that can take it on the chin. I get a lot of New Yorkers, I got to give credit. I do get a lot of New Yorkers that be like, you know what, D, you right. This is some bullshit. The common bond is these are people who care more about our Black American culture than their own little fucking city that they're in. And that's what we need. We need people who love the culture. Each part of Black America has injected beauty into the culture. Each part has also injected poison. Chicago injected poison with drill rap. Atlanta injected poison with trap rap. LA injected poison with the gangster shit. New York injected poison with the shiny suit, hoes and clothes. We've all injected poison. Ain't no region, ain't no big time city, ain't no region that's free, that's pure and clean and hasn't done anything to hurt hip hop. We've all done something to hurt hip hop. Only issue is when it's New York's turn to talk about why they hate what they done to inject to hurt hip hop. It's you just hate New York. No. Fuck you if you think that. And I mean it. I'm not going to tell you to change your point of view. I'm not going to do anything for you to change your point of view. I'm just going to say fuck you and keep doing what I do. Doesn't matter either way. Yeah, Philly did hurt hip hop. You know how Philly hurt hip hop? Nigga, y'all right there at New York and y'all let Jay-Z come through and take y'all state property, take your moment that y'all had in the early 2000s. Y'all let Jay-Z do what Drake did to Memphis. Come in and take y'all sound. And he got to sound like Philadelphia for a few years while all your guys basically sat back and let it happen. Y'all didn't stand strong to New York. Y'all let them niggas gangster y'all. Y'all let them gangster y'all out y'all sound. That should have never happened in LA. You ain't gangster us out of shit. You see that drill shit never caught on here? Like, no, we got our own thing. Fuck you. You ain't about to come here and sound like us. No. Yeah, Jay-Z raped Philly. And the rest of us in hip-hop, yeah, Houston did with Lean, right. The rest of us in hip-hop, we need Philly to be strong. Philadelphia, let me tell you something about Philadelphia. Philadelphia is as important, I don't want to say more important, but y'all know how they talk about like jazz in New Orleans and about, it's a lot of talk about how important New Orleans is to music. It's a lot of talk about how important the South is to music and the blues, Memphis, and Nashville. A lot of talk about New York when it comes to the Harlem Renaissance and hip hop. But Philadelphia is right there. Philadelphia might even be more impactful. Because the Philly sound, those not the Philly and East Coast ain't not quite. Because Philly go back further. See, the Philly sound go back to the 1700s. When I do my music history, Philadelphia has been changing shit in music and moving the sound forward for over 200 years. This shit didn't start with no goddamn jazz. Philly. It didn't start with the blues. Philly is where the gospel hymn book was written. Gospel music, Philadelphia. Now the music part is the South. The hymns, the lyrics, that's Philadelphia. Philadelphia gave us the waltz. Philadelphia gave us the best class. See, a lot of the music that Philadelphia introduced us was like chamber music and a lot of classical stuff. A lot of the music that Americans now today see considered as white, a lot of that was Black Philadelphia 230 years ago, 240 years ago. The issue with Philly is they infight too much. They don't speak up for their history. You Philly niggas fight. Y'all got a mistrust issue in Philly for real. Y'all got a real bad competition in Philly to where y'all fight so goddamn much. The rest of us don't hear what you gotta say. Yeah, Philadelphia is extremely important to Black America. Philadelphia is like an unsung hero of Black American music. And y'all got some of the dopest ass barbers on the planet. But right now, you're gambling Huff, right? But the news of the story of today is what's going on out of hip hop, out of New York. From Cardi B releasing records to this shit. This shit looks bad. Like, we gotta talk about the present. LA hip hop, we were on the docket back when Big U got locked up. With Adam, all these weird ass niggas going to go see Adam 22 and all that shit. LA was on the hot seat back in February. I had some dickhead in here earlier like, LA's next. No, stupid. LA was 6 months ago. Were you here? With all that fake ass gangster podcast until Big U got locked up. Now all the niggas, this is one LA podcast. I'm not gonna say their name because I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke. Because I talked about them before and they got a little bit mad at me. But these niggas tried to talk about Charlie Kirk last week. And if you know in chat room, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. These niggas tried to really talk about Charlie Kirk last week and didn't know a goddamn thing about Charlie Kirk. They can tell you which block this gang's on, which block that gang on. They can tell you who snitched. They can tell you who beat up who fucked who baby mama. They can tell you all that shit. But these niggas tried to speak on Charlie Kirk and then have the nerve to say rest in peace. Like, do you, what? What? Y'all know all that gangster shit, but you don't know that Charlie Kirk hated you, nigga? That's the problem. You know more about this gang life than your real enemy. I'm not even gonna bring up the podcast. I'm like, it just caught me. It really caught me off, like not off guard, but it was like kind of a moment for me. Like, damn, these niggas know all the gangster this, gangster that, but they don't know that this white dude was using niggas like you as the example as to what's wrong with all of us. And y'all gonna say rest in peace? You stupid motherfuckers. You don't know who your real enemy is, nigga? I don't fuck with no nigga who think that another black man, because he wear a different rag or a different baseball cap, is his enemy, but he don't know who in the hell who his real enemy is. I don't give a fuck if you are from LA. But guess what? When all that stuff was going on, wreak havoc. All I'm saying, wreak havoc may or may not be right. But my issue is when all that stuff was going on, when all those Ricos were coming down on LA and all those LA podcasts was, as an LA person, you know what I had to do? I had to listen to podcasts out of Atlanta, talk about how goofy LA looked. I definitely had to listen to a few podcasts out of New York, talk about how goofy LA looked. I had to listen to podcasts all around this country talking about how goofy LA looked. Chat room. Did I ever speak up and say that those people were wrong? Did I, chat? Did I ever do a show on here talking about how those people who are talking about LA are wrong about, and no, we good? Did I say, yeah, no, but Atlanta did this. No, but St. Louis did that. No, because I'm not a bitch. It was like, y'all right. These niggas look stupid as fuck. Matter of fact, I joined in. Yeah, LA, we looking dumb than a motherfucker right now. And what did I say? I was like, even though I don't do that style of content, even though I stay away from the streets, being an LA podcaster, I had to sit back and take that L. I had to take that L with the rest of the city. Because we looked dumb than a motherfucker when that shit was going on. LA niggas know more about the Mason-Dixon line between this gang and that gang, but didn't know Charlie Kirk hate them. You stupid motherfuckers. New York, it's your turn now. Y'all got an old nigga problem coming out of New York. Y'all have an old nigga problem. These old niggas is going wild. Infighting, suing, bringing in people's kids, taking people's creative works. I'm going to open the phone line, 323-388-3315, 323-388-3315. Tune on in right now. Tune on in right now. Call in if you want to say what you have to say. 323-388-3315. New York got to get its act together. Y'all old niggas got to get y'all act together now in New York. I wouldn't even be talking about it like this. See, I'm not talking about YSL and all that. Them niggas is what, in their early 30s, even though they too old to be it's a lot going on. It's a lot of other dynamics. I'm like, all right, they got a chance to them young niggas out of Atlanta, they got a chance to work that out. But you got Jay-Z that tried to sell the city out twice. Sold the city out once at the Barclays Center and tried to do it again with this fucking casino. That nigga Jay-Z too old. Jay-Z is too old and too rich to be everybody's bitch. Let me say that again. Jay-Z is too old and too rich to be every white man's bitch. You ain't gotta sell your people out every time, nigga. Is there anything you'll say no to? A casino on your own people? Is there anything you'll say no to? Colin Kaepernick? We done kneeling? Is there anything this old New York nigga won't sell his people out for? Anything. If you can go around and puff your chest out, Jay-Z the greatest rapper ever. Well, puff your chest out and ask this nigga, is there ever a price that's too much to pay? Is there ever a price that's too much to pay? $33B1 says Jay-Z only gave us rap lyrics, not a real movement. Crazy part about that is he ain't even give you rap lyrics. Half of that shit was somebody else's. 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. That's Ice-T. Me and my girlfriend, that's Tupac. But I feel where you coming from. Yeah, he stopped the distribution deal when Dame they tried to become independent. It was Jay-Z that got in the way of Suge and all them coming together and creating their own line of distribution.
To accept, press 1.
Is there
to
ever
send a voicemail, press
a
2.
price like the $1 million, like Jay-Z's a true example of what the $1 Million Man told us when we was kids. Everybody's got a price. Ding, 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 ding. What's up, Carter? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Straight from the East Coast, man. You funny as hell.
For sure. What's on your mind, my brother?
Yeah, even though you got a lot of dollars, even if I don't agree with some of the things, even about the history, but of black music and stuff like that. But you be making some hard hitting facts and you make your case for it. That's how I can respect you. You're not emotional about it. You make people see on the outside what they already think. So, I didn't keep up a good work. I mean, New York at the time when hip hop was starting in the early '80s, and that was small. they had a different culture, and everything New York was ahead of everything. Around 80, between mid 80s and late 80s. So, when I used to go to Virginia State, we always influenced by New York hip hop culture or go go. So, it was more than just music and putting different beats together. But that's just how it was. It's just hip hop was hip hop at our age. Older people didn't like it until Heavy D came on the scene, and that was the genre of the time. Now, when New York and not New York, when hip hop and R&B was getting together, you can tell that the vibration was a little lower, the quality was a little lower. But you gotta understand the technology phase too. Because the technology, you can argue that the technology limited people who had skill as a musician. That's including drum machines and things of that nature. Now it's software, musical software, and you don't really have to really play an instrument. You know what I'm saying? So
but even back then, when it came down to just knowing how, the thing you had to know back then was how to pick a sample and put it in line. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing because look, at the end of the day, that was a reaction to the country having a nationwide effort to take music out of schools, And at the same time, the music industry stopped funding live instrumentation. So it was a lot of things that play at once. That's why I'm not mad. I'm not being critical. When I said what I had to say about the samples, it was a response because the common misconception is New York gave us something, and the fact is it didn't. It remixed some things that New York hip hop went ahead and used, and New York hip hop took out and went its own way and did a lot of beautiful things with it, especially with Rakim, Run DMC, LL Cool J. It did some great things with it. But over here on the West Coast, we was only influenced by Rappers Delight. Like California people don't go to New York, especially poor ones. People work do, but rappers are poor man's sport back in the day. You know what I mean? Like in California, our connection is with Louisiana, Texas, Alabama. Not the Carolinas, not New York. New York, y'all connection is with the Carolinas and Georgia. So we don't, even when we travel, when y'all go back down south to y'all family in New York, y'all going to Georgia and the Carolinas. In California, when we go back to our family, we going back to Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama. So there was no internet back then. This is before Yo MTV Raps. This is before rap videos were getting put on TV. Only thing we had was Rappers Delight and Beat Street. And each city created hip hop in its own way. In the Bay Area, Too Short talks about, Too Short's from LA, but he's forever Bay because the Bay Area hustle, the Bay Area culture is what went into Too Short's version of hip hop, the hustle. LA had its own version based in techno music. When we weren't b-boying in LA, we was pop locking. We similar dances, but we weren't doing what New Yorkers were doing. Our hip hop had our own style of dance, our own style of dress, our own music. We was doing this shit to techno before Above the Law brought in G-Funk. You see what I mean? Houston had their own thing. And really the only shared relationship was between LA and Texas. Because when we would go down to our family reunions, we would drop off what we was doing down there and we would pick up a little of their flavor and bring it back and vice versa. We weren't in New York to even pick up on what y'all was doing. That's all I'm saying,
What game K-Day was playing New York music?
K-Day was playing all hip hop.
Melon and Bombada.
Yeah, they was playing all hip hop. They was playing New York and they was playing Too Short. K-Day was the first. Okay. K-Day was the first 24-hour radio station, a hip hop radio station, and they were playing anybody.
What the world class record crew was like a funk group, right? It was local funk band.
World Class
Right.
Wrecking Crew, yeah. If you look on this channel, I have an interview with Lonzo Williams, the person that created World Class Wrecking Crew. We went through their whole history here on about 6 months ago. Look up my interview with Lonzo.
Yeah, because Dr. Dre was the one that was cutting and scratching. I thought that was New York influence, but you know.
No,
But that was the techno.
Dre learned that from Lonzo. Egyptian Lover learned how to was cutting and scratching before Drake, and Egyptian Lover.
Okay.
And Egyptian Lover learned from his brother.
Oh,
you got to understand this is 79, 90, and then 79, 80. There's no YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
There's no videos coming out of New York teaching us anything. We had to learn it on our own over here because the internet didn't exist, and ABC 7 News wasn't putting on no special. This is how you mix. We had to figure that shit out on our own. And Egyptian Lover was mixing before Drake, and he learned from his brother.
Right.
All right, but I got some more people calling in, man. Thanks for giving us a call.
All right. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that's why I do these interviews. Like, look, in New York, y'all were having park jams. In LA, we couldn't have park jams because the police would shut that shit down. Our hip hop was happening in clubs and mostly in backyards before the clubs. That's why you get songs like Backyard Boogie. Like, yeah. When you go to Mac 10, this is a straight up LA. This is a straight up LA hip hop classic.
Get your boogie on. Get your boogie on.
Yeah. It's all about, because that's where hip hop took place out here. We couldn't pick up New York's habits, because if we tried to bring a sound system in to a park, the police gonna bust our ass and take the sound system as evidence. And that's the point I keep trying to make. And the issue is this. This is why I say New York, y'all can't speak for hip hop no more. New York can only speak for New York hip hop. Let's make that very clear. I said it, and if any one of you New York podcasters got an issue with what I said, bring me onto your show or come on to my show and let's talk about it. I'm going to teach your ass something you ain't never known before. Because New York is so into New York. Like, Brooklyn is too busy battling with Queens to know what's going on in Houston. The Bronx is too busy battling with Harlem to know what's going on in LA. Y'all got your own thing. And it's beautiful. But going back to that interview earlier this year with KRS-One, y'all remember that interview that KRS-One did with Dr. Green Thumb? With Be Real from Cypress Hill? KRS-One didn't even know about Uncle Jam's parties. Uncle Jam would have hip-hop parties in 1981. LA, Uncle Jam was flying Curtis Blow and Grandmaster Flash and all them to LA in 81, 82 and setting them up on a whole West Coast run from LA up to the Bay. And Lonzo talked about that. It was a competition between Lonzo Williams, between Lonzo, the Wrecking Crew, and Uncle Jam's. And there was two major promotion outlets in LA that was flying out acts from New York and setting them up with a run. LA, Fresno, the Bay. 3 cities in a weekend. We had our own thing. But KRS-One, the so-called hip-hop historian, didn't even know this. How do you not know such a massive thing was going on? Roger Meadows said, love the education on LA, Texas, and Alabama, and California. Question, during the Great Migration, who from the South ended up Detroit, Milwaukee, Indianapolis, Cleveland? Good question. A little bit of both. Like the Chicago line went up from Mississippi.
See, if you were in Mississippi and Alabama, most of those people went to Chicago. LA was the alternate. And most of Oakland, a lot of that came out of Detroit and Chicago because of the train lines. A lot of your Oakland residents got to Oakland by way of Milwaukee, Detroit, Chicago. A lot of them left early on from Alabama, Mississippi, and went to Chicago. And when they couldn't find work, or the Pullman Porters, saw Oakland, the Oakland shipping industry was opening up. So a lot of your Oakland people came from Chicago and Detroit. But that's a good question. That's how the blues got to Chicago. When New Orleans, the train line went New Orleans up to Memphis, St. Louis, Chicago to Detroit. That was the route. And most people went that direction. The rest came to the west. So, yeah, same. I lost requests for KRS-One over the years too. See what y'all, look, again, I don't have any issues with New York. I don't want no problems with New Yorkers, but what y'all got to understand is this. My background is in cultural anthropology. I know how to cite and source and trace information. I paid my own way through college cash so I can learn this shit. I apply what I learned in university and how to trace culture to music and hip hop. And I use primary sources as my evidence. First-hand sources, meaning the people who were there. So just like New Yorkers like saying, you weren't there. Nigga, you weren't in California. So how the fuck do you know what we was doing? We couldn't copy off your homework, New York, if we wanted to. We're too busy living our lives here. Even if we wanted to imitate New York, how? With no internet. And I also get why New York don't like the LA gangster rap. See what, quote unquote, gangster rap, what we call message music initially. What we call that, get a lot of Bay Area, Louisiana too. Yeah, you're right. Alabama, Louisiana too for the Bay. You're right. But going back to what I said, I get it. The thing that threw people off about NWA was a reflection of society. That was the original intent of NWA. Straight out niggas with attitudes. The purpose of NWA was to show America what it produced during the crack epidemic. LA and Oakland were the first places to get crack. Oakland first, LA second. So while y'all was still doing something different in New York, I don't know what y'all was doing. We got crack first. Crack was created at UCLA, allegedly. I gotta say allegedly, because I used to have the paperwork to show some of that stuff. When my computer crashed last month, I lost a lot of that documentation that I had. When my computer and my hard drive crashed on the same day. So I gotta say allegedly now, because what I had to back it up is gone. But that shit was created at UCLA and Berkeley, crack cocaine. SWAT teams were created in LA out of the LAPD. The LAPD and the New York PD have completely different functions. In New York, y'all have the police department and the mafia to deal with.
In LA, the police department is the mafia. And they use mafia-style tactics on us. So NWA was a response to that environment. Look at what you created, America. But they illustrated that picture so beautifully, it threw everyone else off. Like, look at what they're doing. They're ruining hip-hop. No, you dumbass. They doing exactly what Grandmaster Flash did. Furious 5. They're doing exactly what Public Enemy did. They're doing exactly what the original intent of hip-hop was. To voice a voice for the voiceless. That's what they were doing. They were highlighting what was going on. And showing the world what LA created. The message. Furious 5. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. Broken glass everywhere. That was a message showing the world what was going on. Like, look at this dickhead that's in the chat right now. NWA is gangster music. Tiger Stewart, you listen to music with dicks in your ear. Get the cum out your ear and listen to the lyrics. Let me help you out. Like, people get caught up on that song Dope Man. I asked somebody had a discussion with me years ago. He was like, man, what are you talking about? They celebrated the Dope Man, NWA. This is what y'all heard.
Dope man, hey man, give me a hit. Dope man.
All y'all heard was Dope Man. But did you hear the last line of Dope Man? Telling you, the Dope Man, you think you slick. You sold crack to my sisters, now she's sick. Telling you that crack makes people sick. And if she dies, I'm putting a slug in the head of the Dope Man, not another black man. But a lot of you stupid motherfuckers didn't hear the message. All you heard was Dope Man, and you assumed that they were glorifying dope. No, stupid. They were saying that shit make you sick. It fucks you up. That's what they were saying. But a lot of you niggas are too goddamn stupid to listen to the message of a song. You hear the hook and think that's what it is. Dummy. And I go for all you niggas that's talking about, man, all NWA did was tear down a community. No, motherfucker, they highlighted the community and what was going on. You weren't there, as y'all like to say. Fuck the police. Do you know why there was a fuck the police? Let me show you why. Let me show you why. Because LA, and if you weren't there, I was there, you weren't. This is LA in the 80s. Let me show you. This is LA in the 80s. You know how many times I woke up at 3 a.m. because one of these was pulling up to my neighbor's house? And I'm 5 years old, 6 years old, hearing kind of commotions because about 20 cops is hopping out of one of these and they throwing flashbangs. Do you know what the PTSD is? Do you know what the PTSD you get as a 6-year-old? To hear it's 2, 3 in the morning, here come the helicopter.
You niggas in New York didn't have to worry about that shit because y'all got them tall ass fucking buildings. We had to deal with helicopters over our house all night circling, this motherfucker hopping out, throwing flashbangs in a goddamn house because they said it was a dope house, it was a crack house. And then if you don't see that, you lucky if you see that other van. As a matter of fact, these two usually came together. If it was just the van, you was good. But usually this battering ram and this truck came together. One was this battering ram right here was knocking Miss Johnson's wall in while 20 fucking armed SWAT officers come in with flashbangs because they heard Miss Johnson's house was a crack house because her son Cornelius was out here dealing drugs. So now when you walk to school every day, you see a house, Miss Johnson's house across the street, got a big ass hole in it for like a year because they can't afford to get the shit fixed. And this is what we seeing every goddamn day. So when we heard fuck the police, this is why. Y'all didn't have that shit where y'all came from. Y'all had something completely different. Not saying that you weren't under the system of white supremacy. You guys had a different deal with the system of white supremacy. But this one was ours. Roger, they're all the same thing. You gotta realize it's limited trade lines. So what's coming out of that's all Cleveland, it's all this, they're all just different stops along the train line, my brother, from the South. Study the train lines of the time out of the South, and you'll get a better picture. But I don't want to get too much caught into where people are from. So our West Coast hip hop didn't come out of New York. It came out of dealing with this shit. It was a response to this. That's what our hip hop is. Our hip hop is a response to this. Same thing with Gangsta Gangsta. Q dropped that music, that message. And they was talking about right there. Wasn't about the money, it was about the reality.
From
it was about the reality. That's what the music was about. Not putting on airs. That's what we saw growing up. What's it called? What's the name? Where you calling from?
What's going on? It's Auto Choice, man. Town business.
Town business. What's on your mind, my brother?
Yeah, I was just checking out what type of album was being dropped while me and you was growing up. You know, I'm born in 82. You born in 81. We both Gemini. That's happening.
Yeah.
And Big Daddy Kane, ain't no half stepping. He dropped in 88. Let's Get It Started. MC Hammer, that's 87. So you can see a lot of Louisiana in Let's Get It Started. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that is loud, big band music jumping all around. I mean, if you ever been into the Mardi Gras, it's just nothing but party theme for MC Hammer type of music. You know what I mean? And Big Daddy Kane, which is still hip hop, but we on a different flavor. You know what I'm saying? We more into jazz. You know, we're more into the renaissance of what they had to go through to have their music played and be celebrated in their type of culture. Same thing with what's the brother? Nothing but the sweat upon my hand. Thinking of a master plan. What's the other guy name out there in New York? The OG guy.
Rakim?
I can't think of his name right now.
Rakim?
Yeah, Rakim. Rakim. Thank you, man. Rakim. So when you looking at those two eras, there's no way in hell you would probably think, if you're new to America, you hear MC Hammer, and then you hear Rakim or Big Daddy Kane, you won't even think that they're in the same genre. And this is 10 years of the making of what we now call hip hop. This is 87, 88, which is means it's about 10 or 12 years of the making of hip hop. After 73 or 74 of the first these so-called hip hop albums being recorded, and they're going totally different ways, totally different messages to the streets, and that's something that I celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Because we were about dancing. You know what I'm saying? Big band still playing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people on the stage. Having fun. You know what I'm talking about? And New York was still kind of in their poetic form of lyrics. It was more about, focusing on the artist. When we really still was focusing on the whole band, we were still focused on the DJ, it was a lot still focusing on everybody on the stage. And so, I celebrate the differences, man.
Yeah, it's major differences, man. Thanks for giving us a call. You're right.
No problem.
There's major differences. My man Thiz in the chat, salute to you, but this is a common misconception. Cube got conscious with death certificate. No. Cube was conscious with NWA. I just played the song Dope Man for you. The song Dope Man, even the song Gangster Gangster, is talking about what the gangster, how he's perceived. And that song, Cube is very poetic and he's always been conscious. Cube has always been conscious. NWA didn't become street thug music until Cube left. NWA was very conscious with Cube. Go back again, Gangsta Gangsta, that is a story about what America produced. Okay? It's about what America produced. It's not, he's not celebrating gangsterism. He's telling you the reality of what Black Americans in LA were put under and put through during that time. And the reason why I know is because I was there. And my dad had me, I love my dad, man. Matter of fact, I'm going to call my dad when I'm done talking to y'all. Just let Pops know that's my nigga right there. But my Pops was on the streets in the 70s. And what got my dad out of the streets is me being born, literally. Me being born is what got my dads out of the streets. And I grew up as a child listening to my dad's friends, his old street friends, come by and watch the Laker game. And I'm sitting right next to my dad while he's smoking a joint and drinking beer, talking about in 87, talking about the difference from 77 to 87 and how the reality changed when that crack came. LA and Oakland was a social experiment. We were the beta test for crack. Jobs got taken from us first before they started getting taken from the South and other places. The car factory jobs, the airplane industry jobs, the shipping yard jobs, we were the first to lose that shit. They brought the Mexicans to LA and to California first. We started going through this economic shit in the 70s. They started bringing Mexicans in back then to replace us for our jobs. So things that weren't seen in the rest of America into the late 80s and into the 90s, we started dealing with in the 70s. And NWA was a reflection of the result of that. NWA didn't start a trend. It didn't create nothing. It didn't say nothing that wasn't already happening. NWA was a reflection of the current reality. The issue is the reality was too much for most people to stand. So instead of dealing with the reality that NWA gave y'all, y'all said NWA was the problem. Because white media told you to say NWA is a problem, not the conditions that NWA spoke on. Okay? Yeah, McDonnell Douglas, the Boeing jobs, Hughes, all black folks in LA built the airplane industry. The Volvo cars, Firestone tires on Firestone in Santa Fe over there. Our economy was taken and crack was replaced here first in Oakland. Then y'all got it after they perfected that shit on us. But our music wasn't all gangster. Right? We had Rodney O and Joe Cooley. We had a lot of dance, a lot of good times music too. But as a culture, we got to be able to check each other. Because I'm from LA. LA's always getting talked about. I get niggas from the South saying all kind of shit about LA ain't got no culture. Or when we do point out LA culture, they want to say that's from the South. And no, the fuck it ain't. Spent a lot of time in my life down south, and we got different cultures. LA culture is LA culture. Southern culture is Southern culture. And Southern culture is not monotonous. Louisiana culture, Northern Louisiana culture, is way different than Southern Louisiana culture. Texas, Dallas culture is way different than Houston culture. Atlanta culture is way different than Memphis culture. Charlotte culture is way different than Birmingham culture. So being from LA, I'm always having to hear people wag their fingers at us. So I want to say that before I close out, if you got an issue with what I say, I don't give a fuck. Grow some thick skin and toughen up like I had to. Grow some tough skin. Rocky hot. Grow some thick skin and deal with it. Because we should all be open to criticism. All of us brought in good things to music. All of us brought in bad things to music. And we should be able to have that conversation. Because we all got to get it together. New York, y'all need to get y'all shit together. These niggas is too old to be suing each other and arguing about shit that happened back in the 90s. You niggas is way too old for that. 50 Cent way too old to be a troll. I don't think being a 50-year-old troll is a flex, honestly. It's a flex at a certain age, but it's not a flex in your 50s. No pun intended. All right? I'll holler at y'all. Oh, before I leave, go to Incense and Ashtrays, youtube.com/Incense and Ashtrays. Let me pull this shit up. Oh, come on now. I want y'all to go to Incense and Ashtrays over on YouTube. I'm trying to get the site up for you. Here we go. Over there, we're getting subscribe to the new channel. That's where my mini doc is. My mini doc is over on that channel. And also, we're about to drop the interview I did with Ms. Berta Bell. So now we get to the band War. Did you know War and the song Lowrider, the band who made the group Lord? Can you talk to us about them?
Charles Miller. This is during the summertime because at Testimony, this church over here across the street.
There's Miss Berta Bell. She coined the term lowrider. Her husband, Big Red Bell, was the first person to create lowriders. He worked, and she talks a story about him working about him working at the airplane facility in Northrop Grumman and creating the first lowriders. Her husband was the first person ever written about in a newspaper and published about lowriders. And they were written about in the 60s. They have been lowriding since the 50s. But the first published article about lowriders was with her and her husband. This is what I mean by LA culture. LA got its own culture. We got a culture of lowriders that doesn't exist in New York. And our hip hop was built around this. That came out of LA funk. So I'm breaking down a story about how black people were the ones that innovated lowriding. San Diego, LA, Bay. That was our shit. Still is our shit. But go on over to Incense and Ashtray channel for that. You can also go over to Patreon. On Patreon, I have a sale that's going on now. Type in the product code music. If you have not signed up for Patreon, 50% off for the first month. 50% off on Patreon on all tiers for the first month. And I just introduced a new tier, the Music University tier. We're all of my lectures that I've done, not lectures, these are my courses. The difference between the YouTube show and my lectures is I do college style lectures where you get a syllabus, you get notes and slides for every presentation, and you get an outline, and you also get an word guides and also further books and documentaries to watch to go further into it. So instead of charging $150, $300 for a course, straight up $40 a month, all my courses that I've done in the past are up on there now, and all courses that I'm going to do in the future are going to be on that level. A lot cheaper. So you guys can really know that history. But yes, that's $40 a month, $50, $20 for the first month. But I put a lot more effort into that. It's truly college course style where it's my next course is on the history of R&B. We have a 10-part, a 10-class course coming up on the history of R&B that's going to start in October, okay? Second Sunday of October, whatever date that is. I don't know, what day is it, the 12th? Whatever the second Sunday is in October, that's when we're going to start the history of R&B. All right? Music is the code. Music gets you 50% off for the first month. 50% off for the first month with the product code music. All right? Christopher Ellis, I appreciate the super chat, the super chat. About the uplifting of black culture, and it can be checked when you're acting childish. Right. That's what this is about. But I also know that there are people who are so caught up in, my city's perfect, they're not going to get the message. And to them, I say, fuck off. I don't care. But to everyone else that gets the message, salute. Alexander Jerry, I appreciate the Cash App. Williams, much appreciation on the Cash App, my brother. Thank y'all again, all right? And remember, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. All right? We out.